Yeah, 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 come and take a look at the snow. Bright white as far as your eyesight goes. Come and take a look at the fields of snow. I'll just get my coat, then we're good to go. Come and take a look at the lake. Let's have a quick skate before it gets late. Come and take a look at the frozen lake. Put your clothes on, mate, don't make that mistake.
Greetings, holiday shoppers. There are only 213 shopping days left until Christmas, and I think you know what that means. It is time for another episode of Christmas Creeps, your one-stop shop for holiday madness year-round. I am your host, Bradford. Here with me tonight is my good friend, Joseph Wade. How are you?
I have returned. Yes, I am back in all my anime splendor.
They said it couldn't be done. They said those mad lads will never do it. But it is my great pleasure to welcome back onto the show Dr. Nick. Hello, Dr. Nick.
Hi, everybody.
Hey,
Hi,
Dr.
Dr.
Nick. I think that, you know what that means when Nick is on the show. That means we're going to talk about some Gundam.
Yes.
Not always, but usually.
Not always, but usually.
It's not like
almost a complete.
It's not like I haven't been bugging you guys to do this for 3 years now.
It's finally time. Anime is upon us on an odd year. So, there's no time like the present. And guess what? We done did it. Is this the first mini-series we've covered?
What does Endless Waltz count as?
Endless
Endless
Waltz was technically an OVA series of 3 episodes, but we all watched the movie compilation, so I'm calling it as a movie.
Yeah, I would call Endless Waltz a movie. That's what I thought too. But this is very clearly a mini-series. If you can't read, if you're somehow illiterate or being forced to listen to this podcast against your will, tonight we are talking about Mobile Suit Gundam 0080. Is that how you say it, Nick? Or you just say 80?
0080.
0080 War in the Pocket. It was a mini-series from 1989, and yes, it does take place during Christmas. Now, look, Joe and I pretend to know a lot on this show, but we defer to somebody truly knowledgeable, which is why we have Nick on the show tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, you're welcome. It is absolutely my pleasure. Like I said,
Dare I call him the world's foremost expert on all things Mobile Suit Gundam? I know it's not true, but you know what? It sounds good.
No, sorry, Tom Aznable and Mark Simmons have me beat.
It's close enough. With that, I think we should go. We have a lot to get through tonight. We have a lot of fun things to learn. We have a lot of things to live. So I'm going to go ahead and declare a can check. Grip it and rip it. And how about you guys let me know what you're working with here? What's your drink of choice for tonight?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and disappoint everybody and say I'm being a boring lad tonight because I'm drinking an orange Crystal Light out of a Buc-ee's cup.
You know, it's
I'm
fine.
sorry.
It's fine.
I do have a surprise for after we've gone around the horn, though, so please continue.
Oh, okay. Boy. Dr. Nick.
Let me see if I can get this on mic. Ooh,
yeah, I got it.
I heard that, yeah.
There we go. That is a Summit root beer. Aldi's premier pure cane sugar root beer that they have. And I'm pouring it into my Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury cup that features an image from the ED of Suletta and Mirine sitting in a field together.
Oh, nice. Now,
Nice.
When you say that that's Aldi's premier root beer, do they have a not so premier root beer?
I don't even know if they have just like the 12 pack of cans of like corn syrup root beer, but this one's sold in 4 packs and it's less than $4 for a 4-pack, so you know it's quality.
There you go.
It actually is pretty good.
Nice. I like a good root beer every once in a while.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
All right. Bradford, how about you?
I have a Jackie O's Who Cooks For You Hazy Pale Ale. It's nice. I grabbed it from a pizza parlor of all places.
Ooh.
Ah, that's delicious. It's got almost the way it's hopped. Almost reminds me of Pez, but in a good way.
Huh.
Anyways, yeah.
Interesting.
All right. Now you had something special for us.
Yeah, well, speaking of Pez and all things, candy and delicious, I do have some candy I picked up today just because I saw it at my local pharmacy, and I thought, well, that sounds interesting. I have to try that. These are peanut butter and jelly M&Ms.
Whoa.
Ugh. Okay.
Speaking of war in the pocket, let's put two flavors together and see what happens.
Wait, there's multiple. Oh, peanut butter and jelly. I feel like these are going to live or die based on what kind of jelly you're working with.
Well, it's a mass market, M&M's candy, so I'm assuming grape.
It's got to be grape.
Jelly. All right.
Let's go right in here. Yeah, I think that's grape jelly.
How are they?
It's okay. It's just the fruit flavor is a little off-putting, I'll be honest.
That's what I would have guessed.
I would imagine, yeah.
You already have the milk chocolate there doing all of like the sweetness. You don't need to double up on the sweetness. It was already balanced.
Right, and then add peanut butter on top of that, which you can get peanut butter M&Ms and they're fine.
And they're fine. They're good even.
And now you're throwing grape into the mix, and it's a hat on a hat on a hat, and I'm gonna eat the whole bag, but I'm not a fan of it. So that's
we have a ringing endorsement if I've ever heard one.
I mean, I'll eat it. I won't be happy about it. We haven't had garbage candy on the show in a while, so I thought I'd indulge in a little bit.
I think
give myself a treat in the middle of y'all's little treat.
I think the last time we did a Gundam podcast, you also had some fucked up jelly beans.
Yeah,
I think you're right. You were right. Those were oh god, it was like the Easter Sunday meal jelly beans.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, right, yes, yeah.
God, I forgot all about that. Anyway, while I nosh on these, Brad, why don't you get us started tonight?
Okay. This is Nick. You're gonna just have to correct me because I'm probably gonna get some stuff wrong here.
All right, put me in, coach.
This is, as I mentioned, this is War in the Pocket. It is an OVA. If you're not familiar with OVAs, they're basically direct-to-video anime series that are usually sort of based off of some other property or some other show. In this case, Nick has informed me that War in the Pocket is kind of considered fully fledged its own thing, but it exists in the same universe as the original Mobile Suit Gundam series that came out in '79, which I believe is known as the Universal Century timeline. Is that right?
That's correct. War in the everything up. Well, Gundam has a thing where we covered this a little bit in the Endless Waltz podcast, but Gundam up until 93, all the Gundam shows and stuff, except for the exception of like SD Gundam, which is a parody, they all existed within the Universal Century, which is the original timeline that Yoshiyuki Tomino, the show's creator, came up with. But after Victory came out and Tomino was burned out on Gundam, burned out from dealing with executives, burned out from dealing with toy companies, he just handed the series off to a new voice with Imagawa, who came up with his own alternate universe. So there's also a ton of alternate universes of Gundam that don't have anything to do with the original Universal Century timeline, but they take various imagery and ideas and themes and motifs from the original Gundam series. And this has become even more complicated because G-Quux has now come out, which is now an official alternate timeline to the Universal Century, making things more confusing. But yes, War in the Pocket, this OVA takes place in the final days of the 1-year war, which is what the original Mobile Suit Gundam is about. It's the original Mobile Suit Gundam TV series was about a war between two factions, Zeon and the Earth Federation, where Zeon were living in a group of colonies called Side 3, and there was a war for... Depends on who you ask. The Zeon people claimed that it was a war for independence, from the Earth who did not care about their concerns, and Earth ruling like far off space colonies from Earth, led to bad outcomes for them. But also a lot of the Zeon High Command were openly genocidal fascists, so who's to say who's in the right there? But the 1 year war lasted for 1 year, all of the year 0079. Mobile Suit Gundam covers the last few months of the war, with the Federation developing a new mobile suit called the Gundam in order to counter Zeon's developments in mobile suit technology. Mobile suit means big, giant, stompy robot. And War in the Pocket specifically is in the final days of the 1 year war, as it's drawing towards a close, which is directly mentioned by several characters within the show.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me I guess just ask, because I'm coming at this from basically my only knowledge of Gundam is the thing we watched 3 years ago. So I'm trying to come back around and get my head around it. So you're telling us that it is a part of like the main continuity. It's just like a separate little side story on its own, right? It's not got anything else to do with I guess the main series.
It references the main series like once or twice, but really, yeah, just as it's canon within the continuity of the Universal Century, but really can be viewed on its own as its own separate story that, it's a good introduction to Gundam, because it is just 6 episodes and it tells a concise, clear story that doesn't require any outside knowledge. Even like I mentioned to you guys earlier when we were talking about this, it does reference the original Gundam, but not in a glup shitto way where it's just like, oh, I get that reference. It actually ties into some of the story of the original Mobile Suit Gundam.
Okay. All right. And as an outsider looking in on this, I will say, like, it worked on me. I actually really enjoyed this.
All right. That's what I like to hear.
Hooray! Yeah.
So, yeah, you got me.
So when are you going to build your first Gunpla?
Yes.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
As you can tell from I posted in the Discord back channel a picture of some of my collection of War in the Pocket Gunpla, including the Zaku 2, the Hygog, the Alex, and the Kaempfer. Thank you, Jonathan, for teaching me how to say Kaempfer correctly. But I also have a bigger Kaempfer at work on my desk. So, as you can guess, I'm kind of a big fan of this series, and in the West at least, this is widely regarded as one of the best Gundam series. The other ones that are in the same discussion are the original Gundam series and Turn A Gundam, which was released in 1999.
Okay.
The Hygog is very cool.
The
Hygog
is
a lot.
Yeah, the Hygog's really cool, and I'll have some fun facts about that when we actually get into the show itself.
All right. Cool.
All right.
Yeah. So, yes, the main two factions are the same as the original Gundam, and anything else in Universal Century. And then you had mentioned G-Quux. G-Quux?
Yes, G-Quux.
That's that was the current one that I was telling you about. And that is
right, yeah.
The alternate timeline where, spoiler alert, Zeon ends up winning the 1 year war?
Yep, the 1 year war. The specific timeline divergence is, instead of Char staying behind on the ship while his little minions go and try and see what's going on, which leads to Amuro, a little teenage boy, jumping in the Gundam and just basically doing a lot of shit that wins the war for the Earth Federation. In G-Quux, the idea is Char Aznable, the main rival character, one of the major villains, one of the most popular Gundam characters, if not the single most popular Gundam character. He ends up stealing the Gundam, and that turns the tide of the war in favor for Zeon. It doesn't result in an outright victory for Zeon. They're able to claim some victory, but it still is largely a Cold War style stalemate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See, that's why you know more than I do.
Yeah. And
then
Geekwux is interesting to mention because Geekwux, even though it takes place in an alternate timeline, it does take place in the same general area, the same cluster of colonies as War in the Pocket. They both take place at Side 6.
Yes. The big
where
spinny,
this takes place, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
the big spinny space colony. One of the
Gotcha.
big spinny space colonies. All right. Okay. Should we move into the actual factual parts of the series?
Yeah, I can go over some of the cast and crew first. Well, let's go over the crew before we get really started.
Okay.
This was a special 10-year anniversary project for Gundam because Mobile Suit Gundam released in 1979. War in the Pocket was released from March through August 1989, one episode a month. So every month you'd go to the store, pay an exorbitant amount of money for one VHS tape with a 25-minute episode of Gundam. That's how OVAs worked in the day.
That's largely still how DVDs over there work.
Yeah.
Even now.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of a racket.
Oh yes.
But over here, it's like completely unheard of. You want to go to a store and buy a video? No, they just don't have them.
No, anime DVDs are still really pricey over here. Like, I want the Witch from Mercury box steel books that they have, but they are charging more than $50 for each core of the show. For 12 episodes, they're charging over $50, and you don't get any bonus features.
No, no, thank you.
I know. As much as I love Witch from Mercury, I cannot justify it.
No,
but
that's ridiculous.
But just a little more background. This was the first serious Gundam animation that was made without Yoshiyuki Tomino, the original creator, on board as a director or writer. The year before War in the Pocket came out, there were the Mobile Suit SD Gundam started up, which is its own little sub-franchise with chibi super deformed versions of various mobile suits, and they get up into their own. It was a parody series of Gundam. Those were made without Tomino as a writer or director, but this was the first serious one. And also this entry, not just for the quality of it, the premise casts a long shadow over all of Gundam, where at this point it is kind of hack, and Gundam fans roll their eyes when they hear about a new series where a group of Zeon Special Forces come face to face with a prototype Gundam during the 1-year war and have to defeat it. This is something that pops up in MS Igloo, Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt, the video game Zeonic Front for the PS2, Mobile Suit Gundam Requiem for Vengeance, which was the bad Netflix CGI Gundam series, and there are some other ones, but those are the major hits.
And I bet they're not as good as this.
The Thunderbolt's good. I like Thunderbolt a lot.
Okay.
It's what if Gundam had like even more ludicrous, outlandish mobile suit designs and also jazz.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. Thunder. If you're willing, we can watch December Sky next anime. It's got like 15 seconds of Christmas footage in it.
We've done more with less.
Stay tuned in 2027.
But yeah, let's move on a little bit to the cast and crew of this series. The director is Fumihiko Takayama. Not kind of surprised at how little they've worked on. They don't have a whole ton of credits that I could that really called out to me. They did an episode of directed an episode of Bubblegum Crisis, directed one episode of Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water. They directed several episodes of Super Dimension Fortress Macross, and they directed Patlabor WX3, the third movie. The series composition, according to Anime News Network, is Kyosuke Yuki, which I'm not sure how involved this person actually was, because their only two credits were War in the Pocket and then something called Samurai Gold. And even though they're credited with series composition, they have no screenplay credits whatsoever on this series. Instead, the screenplay credits go to Hiroyuki Yamaga. Here you go, Brad. This is where we're going to enter territory you might be familiar with. He co-founded Gainax.
Yes.
He did the original screenplay for Aim for the Top Gunbuster, which was Hideaki Anno's debut commercial direction project. He directed an episode of Gurren Lagann, produced Fooly Cooly and Ava, and then was the writer-director of Royal Space Force: The Wings of Hanamais.
You had me right until the end. Not
have
familiar with Royal Space Force: The Wings of Hanamais, but other than that,
that's the first project. That's the first major project Gainax released.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Gainax, the studio that animated Neon Genesis Evangelion, along with Production IG, animated Fooly Cooly, animated Gurren Lagann, etc.
Yes. You may be familiar with this with Neon Genesis Evangelion through the film 24-Hour Photo starring Robin Williams.
Yeah, it's got the guy, the good guy who flies around with a big sword. Even though if you've watched Ava, you know that the mass production Ava models are not good guys and do not fly around doing good guy things with swords. They are way more disturbing and awful.
Can I just pause the conversation for a moment?
Yes.
Because I'm looking at Fumihiko Takayama's directorial credits here, and the one that you specifically left out, and I feel like you did it on purpose, so I wouldn't talk about it, but now I'm talking about it, is his very first movie as a director was an animated adaptation of The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, I missed that. No, I did not leave that out on purpose. Good catch.
And this is, I mean, it's an 80-minute, full-length Wizard of Oz feature, and I may have to go find this because this looks kind of wild.
I want to say that definitely got dubbed and got a wide release in the U.S.
Oh my god!
I feel like I've seen bits and pieces of that.
Just gonna put that in the back channel so y'all can look at that.
For sure, that got dubbed over. And
that had to have been
direct to video.
Oh boy!
Anyway, certain.
Don't let me stop the train.
All right. Just a couple more of the crew behind this. The character designer was Haruhiko Mikimoto, best known for working on Aim for the Top Gunbuster as character designer. Again, Anno's first directorial project. Character design for Macross 7, and also is still working today. He was the character designer for Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway, the first of the Hathaway's Flash trilogy that we constantly are hoping for the sequels to come out, but we gotta wait longer for that.
So it's not really a trilogy yet?
Not yet. It was based off of a trilogy of Tomino's novels, and they adapted the first novel into a movie in 2021, and we're still waiting on that.
Yeah, give it some time. Let them cook.
Yeah.
All right.
Should we go through the cast of characters, or should we go through the plot? Like, what are you feeling tonight, friends? How do we want to get into this?
I think maybe go through the plot and introduce the characters as they come up, and also talk about the mobile suits as well. I have sent to Joe and Bradford in the back channels graphics I've made of highlighting some of the more important characters and highlighting all the mobile suits in this series. And I'm pretty sure Joe will make those available on the website or in the show notes when this episode
I'll
releases.
put those in the show notes for sure. This is just going from what I remember from Endless Waltz. This is much more concise and easy to follow in terms of how many characters there are.
And this is not trying to follow up a series that had a writing style that could be best described as completely off the wall.
A little more grounded.
Yes, very
more grounded. Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'll get us started here by saying that that War in the Pocket opens up with what I could only describe as a Fast and Furious 8-ass action sequence.
Oh yeah,
where our team of Xeon,
special forces
guys. Yeah, they're launching an attack from a submarine onto an Arctic airbase where they are trying to. See, I'm already losing the.
They're trying to destroy a special piece of cargo.
The Cyclops team is after the Gundam again.
They're after the Gundam again. Yeah, they're trying to get to this Gundam before it can be loaded onto the shuttle and then launched up into space towards towards side 6, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because they just know that there's something there that they want destroyed. So they attack with the Hygog and the Zagok E, and the Earth Federation is defending with the RGM 79D Jim Cold District type. By the way, that is the GM is pronounced in Japanese Jim, kind of like how GP maybe was the inspiration for the name Jeep. So
Okay.
So
Can I say the Hygog is super cool, and the way they animate it and like the fluid motions and they like almost slither along the ground is way cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's awesome. Yes.
Yeah, and the way it has those like orange like tubes that just like launches.
Yes.
One of the parts of this opening scene that really gets me is when that one Jim gets its like hand fucked up and it's just firing its gun uncontrollably and it just like spins backward and starts shooting itself.
Yes.
Yeah, it just takes itself out.
This is how you could tell it's an OVA because they put a lot of effort into the fight scenes and they look really good, and also there's like for lack of a better term, mecha gore. Like the robots get really messed up in this show.
Yes.
Yeah, these robots bleed, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And it is kind of shocking.
So the implication with, at least with the animation style that I can see, and you can maybe confirm or deny this, and what you had already said about the, like, they mention in the plot is Zeon has mobile suits which are far more advanced than the Feds, right?
Initially, yeah, the Zeon has...
Until the Gundam comes along, right?
Yes.
And that's why they're trying to prevent any sort of advancement in Gundam technology, because you can see it. Like, all of these, the Zaku... Are they all are all of Zeon's suits called Zaku kind of, or is it specifically those green ones?
It's specifically the green ones. Those are Zaku's, and
well, anyways,
that was
the Zeon mobile suits are more fluidly animated and they seem to be more advanced, whereas a lot of the Earth Federation mobile suits that aren't Gundams are kind of clunky and almost more, like robot toy-like. Is that a fair assessment?
Specifically the gyms, like the ones that are protecting the Arctic base here, they are like in universe explicitly mass-produced versions of the Gundam. They are just
okay.
They have been trained on data received from the Gundam, but they are still just less powerful, less maneuverable, less everything versions of the Gundam, and they largely exist kind of. After the first couple episodes of Gundam, like the Zaku does, they largely exist to just get mulched as soon as they get in front of enemy fire.
They're the red shirts of the Gundam universe.
Yes, they are the red shirts of the Federation. And in fact, if you look at the command space type on the mobile suit chart, you'll see that yes, it has a red torso, and the regular Jim has a red torso.
Nice.
By the way,
Good pull.
you guys haven't played Final Fantasy much, have you?
I am not a Final Fantasy guy, no.
I think I've outlined my arc through the Final Fantasy series on this show. Short version, played a lot of them, haven't finished any of them.
Well,
except for Tactics Advance, because I'm a freak. Anyways.
Well, welcome to Video Game Chat.
Yeah!
Hey!
Mobile Suit Gundam was actually a major inspiration for Final Fantasy VII. There's a bunch of optional super bosses in Final Fantasy VII, and even one that you have to fight as part of the main storyline called Weapons. Hi, Jonathan. That are they're in Final Fantasy XIV too. That are heavily inspired by Gundam mobile suits. Specifically, the Ruby weapon from Final Fantasy VII is inspired by the Hygog. If you take a look in the back channel, it's got the really long extendo arms, it's got the big clunky feet, and the tendrils on the end.
Oh yeah.
Wow, yeah.
Look at that.
That's crazy.
So yeah,
I love that.
There's one of the video game facts for tonight.
They're not doing too hot fighting this thing.
Yeah. I mean, from what I've never fought Ruby weapon in Final Fantasy VII because I value my time and I do not want to grind to beat super bosses. Anyway, let's get back to the plot summary because we got a lot to go through. The Cyclops team does fail in their objective to destroy whatever's in the mysterious crate that's taking off on the shuttle, and one of their team members, Andy, bites it pretty bad. He just gets shot up real good.
Oh yeah.
And how?
To the point where I'm looking at your list of characters here, and I'm like, "Who's Andy?" When you're talking about him just now, like, "Oh right, the guy that bites it at the beginning."
Yeah,
okay.
he dies like 2 or 3 minutes in, but yeah,
he's the one that was combing his hair.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's the pretty boy type because we have the playboy, we have the alcoholic, we have the leader, and we have the pretty boy.
Mm-hmm.
Andy, the pretty boy, bites it.
Yes.
But don't worry, they get a new one.
Yes. One thing I really like about the opening is that just once the carnage is done, you get to see those images of the disassembled, destroyed mobile suits like all over the place and on fire, and it does a really good job of just like highlighting, hey, this is all fucked up and really bad.
It's the very much the core thesis of Gundam.
Yes, especially
war is bad, y'all.
Especially War in the Pocket. It's very much, hey, this really sucks, and it's kind of funny. It's an OVA which has more of an adult audience. With its like a lot of OVAs were notorious for extreme amounts of violence and sexual content. And they were aimed at adults with more disposable income, and also because you're an OVA, you're not on TV, you're not beholden to standards and practices. It still is kind of funny that this is squarely aimed at like an 11-year-old boy.
Hey,
oh yeah.
It doesn't make it any less messed up.
Oh yeah,
because the core thesis of this entire series, spoiler alert, is hey, y'all want to watch an 11-year-old boy slowly lose his innocence over 6 episodes?
Yeah. As someone who grew up watching the History Channel when it was all World War II all the time, this show really spoke to me.
Well, one thing I'll say, like right up front, is that I do appreciate how, like, as somebody who has like a very minuscule working knowledge of like the politics of the Mobile Suit Gundam universe, like they don't really go into like which factions are the good guys, which factions are the bad guys. They really don't waste any time on that because you're not really supposed to see them that way. It's just one faction of people versus another.
Yeah,
right. And I think it operates in that gray area to good effect.
And very good effect.
Yeah, that was Tomino's original intention with Mobile Suit Gundam. He wanted to show, like, he didn't want to explicitly say who were the villains, who were the heroes, because he wanted to show that, war is overall a bad thing, and you shouldn't really be, rooting for war. So, as the show goes on, it becomes more and more clear who are the heroes, who are the villains. But the villains, there's some like morally gray areas where like individual soldiers are not bad people, and on the side of the good guys, the Federation, they do some messed up things, like what we'll get into later on with this series. Right. So, yeah, let's continue on. So we're after we get a big old no after Andy dies, and the shuttle takes off. The Cyclops team fails their objective. We are introduced to Side 6, which is where our stories takes place, specifically the Riah colony. This big spinning CGI colony image you see that starts off like the montage of the colony is directly taken from Char's counterattack.
Oh, they just lifted it straight from that?
Yep, they just reused it. If you're going to spend, like, $50,000 animating something, you might as well get your money's worth out of it.
Right.
It reminds me how, like, there's, like, 2 or 3 Star Trek movies that just use the same explosion over and over again. It's like, well, we did it once, why not just keep using it?
Exactly.
We're going to blow up another predator anyway, or bird of prey anyway. Let's just do it again.
Yeah. And this OP kind of introduces us to life around the colony, and it's set to the OP for the series, Itsuka Sora no ni Todoite, which it translates to Reach Out to the Sky Someday, which is by Megumi Shiina. And we get, just some little slice of life stuff, people going about their days, seeing kids in classrooms. And we eventually, as the song ends, we eventually settle down with our main character, Alfred Izuhara, a.k.a. Al.
Ow.
Yes. Voiced by Daisuke Namikawa, who is actually a very prolific voice actor, and I'm very surprised that he plays Al in this, because typically for a boy like as young as Al is, you typically hire a woman to voice him. You typically hire women to voice young kids.
That's standard. I guess that's standard in a lot of Western cartoons.
Yes,
too,
yeah.
Actually.
Bart Simpson, Bobby Hill, even one of the other kids, I believe, is voiced by a woman.
Probably Che.
Yes, Che.
Based on the names that I'm seeing for the voice actors. Yeah.
But yeah, Al Izuhara, Daisuke Namikawa, again, very prolific. He is Quaxley and his evolutions in the current Pokemon series in Japanese.
What a pull!
He's Hotaru Hagenezka, Tanjiro's swordsmith in Demon Slayer. He is Hisoka in Hunter x Hunter.
Okay.
And hey, he is, since 2012, he has been the voice of Goemon Ishikawa from Lupin the Third.
Oh.
Oh, hey.
And then
little callback to our last episode.
Yes,
there.
exactly. Bradford, how much of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure have you watched?
I have watched through half of Stardust Crusaders.
Oh my gosh, you need to pick up on that.
I know.
But Daisuke,
I've been spoiled on a good portion of it, so just hit me with it.
Well, he voices maybe the gayest looking guy in a show that is full of nothing but really gay looking guys, Narciso Anasui from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean.
Okay, I don't know who that is. If I saw a picture of them, I might know.
If you look in the back channel, I posted a picture of Narciso Anasui, and yeah, he looks pretty gay.
Oh, he's fabulous.
Oh wow, look at that guy.
That's fantastic.
And then one more reference for Daisuke Namikawa, just to cause possible psychic damage. He plays Italy in Hetalia.
Oh no. Joe, are you familiar with Hetalia?
I have no idea what any of y'all are talking about.
Hetalia is basically a manga and anime series that's like, what if World War II was done by a bunch of chibi school kids?
So each of the countries have been personified as a small girl.
Okay.
Or a small boy.
And then they do the World War II, but it's small girls. Yep. Anyways, moving on. We're just gonna keep moving. We gotta keep moving.
Yes.
Miyazaki was right. Anime was a mistake.
So back to our story. Al is talking with his two buddies, Che and Telcott, and they are arguing with their. Well, actually, yeah. Che shows off this cool Xeon badge that he got from someone.
I thought it was a Fed
You're right.
badge.
It's a Fetty badge. Yeah, he shows off his Fetty badge, and Al and Telcott are like, "Oh wow, cool." And they're arguing with Dolores, a fellow female classmate, about mobile suits. And Al claims that the Federation does have mobile suits. Dolores is saying they don't. But Al says, he claims that his dad works at the port, and his dad saw there was a black mobile suit going to Side 7. Which
my uncle, who works for Mobile Suit Tendo.
Exactly, yeah. My uncle works for Anaheim Electronics. The thing is, Side 7 is where Mobile Suit Gundam, the original series, starts, but there is no black mobile suit, which I think is kind of cluing the people in the know that Al is full of shit.
So he is actually lying about it, and then when he goes out to try and get quote-unquote proof, he discovers, oh, they actually do have them.
Yeah, after only some little stuff.
Right.
Also, the kids get into a fight, and I just wanted to point out that Dolores kicks Che in the nuts.
Right in the nuts.
Which
right in the nads.
Which also G-Quux made some big waves recently after an episode where the lead character, Machu, kicks an ICE officer in the nuts. So,
oh boy.
I believe it's a callback.
Nice.
I'll take it.
So,
one of two.
So after arguing with after arguing with Dolores about there not being any mobile suits, Al, after school, runs home to grab a camcorder and runs to the spaceport to film some containers coming in. He gets caught by a just random employee. And when Al is, when the guy's like, "What are you doing here?" Al just says he got lost on the way to the bathroom. So, the dock worker just helps him out, tells him where the bathroom is, and Al is not able to get any mobile suit footage.
Yep.
Yet.
He does get footage of a container, but doesn't get any specific mobile suit footage.
Right.
This will be important later.
Yes. The reason I took such detailed notes is because there is a lot of shit that happens in this series that pays off later in big ways.
Right.
That's true, yeah. It's very methodical like that. I appreciate that about it.
Yeah, very.
Mhm.
I think the writer has expressed he has said that he's not a very good writer. But between the first couple episodes of Gunbuster and this, it's like, no, you're really downing yourself. You wrote some good stuff. Anyway, after being kicked out of the spaceport, basically, no, he's not kicked out. Al goes to meet his dad for dinner, and he's just kind of completely like,
Lies
whatever.
about his grades, as an 11-year-old does.
Yes. If you want some more fun voice acting notes, Al's dad in the dub is voiced by none other than Steve Blum.
Steve Blum.
That's
why do I know that name?
That's Spike Spiegel. He's Ares from God of War. He's one of the most prolific voice actors going.
Okay.
If
I found I'm looking at his credits now. If I see something, I probably would know.
Oh yeah. You definitely know his voice. I think he has played extra voices in Doom 3 and the first Jedi Souls-like game. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, he just
Gotcha.
you just hear him in the background of stuff, and you're just like, oh yeah, that's Steve Blum.
Nice. Is that the one you were going to hit him with if he was watching the dub?
No, that comes later.
Oh, okay.
There's going to be that one's a fun surprise.
Okay.
Anyway, during this dinner, Al's dad gives him a letter to give to his mom. The kind of implication being that they're not on the best of terms.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Separated, at least.
Yes. Yeah. But yeah, Dad's like, "Hey, Al, give this letter to your mom." And on the way home from the restaurant, Al is just kind of absent-minded and literally runs into a young woman named Christina McKenzie, a.k.a. Chris, who Al doesn't recognize at first, but she reminds him that she lived next door to him before, and she lived on Earth for a little bit for a job, but she moved back from Earth.
Yes.
His next door neighbor.
Yes.
His next door neighbor.
Yes. And this Christina McKenzie is voiced by, at least in the sub, she's voiced by Megami Hayashibara, who is also an extremely prolific voice actress.
Yeah, I want to say, just based on name alone, I feel like I've heard that name before.
You definitely have heard her before. She is Rebecca in One Piece. My fiance is currently going through the Dressrosa arc right now, so she watches the dub, but if she had on sub, she would have heard a lot of Megami Hayashibara.
Best of luck to her.
Yeah. She is.
Anyways, no, we can't. We got a lot to get through. I can't talk about One Piece.
No.
Anyways,
we are already at 45 minutes. We've got to move. Okay.
Okay. Anyway, Megami Hayashibara. She also is Faye Valentine in Cowboy Bebop.
That's where I've heard her before. Definitely.
She is Musashi in Pokemon, which is the Japanese name for Jessie.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah.
In both the original and remake series, she is the female version of Rama Saotome in Rama 1/2. And, biggest of all, she is Rei Ayanami and Pen Pen in Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah, I feel like definitely remember.
But yeah,
all of this. Okay.
yes. But if you watch War in the Pocket in the dub, you get to hear Wendy Lee instead, who also has a pretty prolific career. Most importantly, though, she is also the dub voice for Faye Valentine.
Hey, fun how that works out.
Yes. So yeah, as Al runs into Chris, and she spills some of her moving items, it starts to rain. So Al helps Chris clean up and take her stuff inside, where she helps clean him up and gives him some hot tea. And while Al's talking to her, we see her unpacking a Federation uniform.
Yes. Dun, dun, dun. And she was recently on Earth. What could be going on?
Yes. But yes, after spending some time at Chris's at the Mackenzie house, Al goes to eat with his mom, where he is very, very disconnected. He's just out to lunch, and his mom's worried that he's not eating dinner, and Al is just like, oh, I ate a lot of dinner with Dad, and he gives her the letter, and then he goes upstairs to work on his homework. But what does he do instead, Joe?
Video games.
He plays video games.
I love this. He's playing a game called Stalking Crisis, which is just kind of a shooting game, but he also is in an act of defiance against his mom. He just starts shooting all the civilian targets.
Yeah. He starts off trying to play the game properly, but when his mom bugs him about doing his homework, he shoots the police station, minus 600 points. Shoots the hospital, minus 500 points. Shoots your house, minus 1,000 points. And then eventually gets a game over screen of your hometown destroyed with a bunch of monsters stomping all over empty lots.
Hey, guess what?
What?
This is what they call foreshadowing.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes.
Good call.
Yes.
Anyways. All right, we got to move. All right.
Brad, take it.
Next day at school, or just stop me if I'm skipping over anything too major here.
Mm-hmm.
Some Xeon forces. Oh, well, basically.
Well, the big thing I want to point out is that the next day, before he goes to school, Al is just taking some random video with his camcorder, and he gets a video of Chris just in her room, and she just does a finger gun at him to
right.
Yeah, which I think that's important later.
Okay. Yeah, a little bit important later. So next day at school, turns out Xeon forces have landed inside 6. Most of the civilians don't know why they're there, but we know why they're there. They're trying to track down this shipment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And one of the Zaku's flies over the school, and Alfred runs off after it, being a mobile suit obsessed young boy.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes to find it has gotten shot down and lands in a forest nearby, where we meet Bernard Wiseman, aka Bernie.
Yes,
Bernie,
a Xeon recruit.
Yes, and that's the end of the first episode. How many miles to the battlefield? And yes, it actually does say in Japanese miles.
Yep.
And then
that was an interesting choice.
And yes, this is the beginning of episode 2, Reflections in a Brown Eye, where yes, we meet Bernie Wiseman, who is pointing a gun at Al.
Yep. And then Al is so desperate to touch his gun. He just wants to touch the gun so bad. Please let him touch the gun.
Yeah.
Is that a real gun? Can I hold it?
Can I shoot it? And so Bernie discovers that Al has been filming the Zaku that has crash landed, but he uses the opportunity with Al's excitement of the gun to grab the camera and take a look at what he's been filming.
Yes.
He sees some footage of Chris, and he comments on that. But more importantly, he sees footage of the spaceport with a high level of security around the container.
Mm-hmm.
And so he proposes a trade, and he's going to give one of his Xeon insignias, his badges, to Al for his camcorder.
I love that part, because he's just holding the insignia, and Al is just following it around like a dog.
He's moving it around to see how interested he is in it. He makes good on the trade, but then he just grabs the disc and gives the camera back to Al. which he'll end up using a lot in the series
Mm-hmm.
as we move on.
Can we pause here for a second and do some casting for Bernie Wiseman? He is voiced by Koji Tsujitani. I didn't see like a ton for him, but he did a lot of stuff. He has since passed on, but he was the voice of Seabook Arno, the main character of Mobile Suit Gundam F91. He was the Japanese voice for Miroku in Inuyasha, and in Kingdom Hearts 3, he played Woody.
Howdy. There's a snake in my boots.
Okay.
Somebody's boys in the water hole.
Okay, so hey, Joe, remember in the back channel earlier today, you made a joke about Star Fox about about time you showed up?
Yeah.
Okay, here's where we're gonna have fun with that because this voice actor announcement for English kept you waiting, huh? It is
Solid Snake.
It's David Hayter in the dub.
Oh god.
It does not sound like Solid Snake at all. It's barely recognizable as David Hayter, but yes, David Hayter voices Bernie in the dub.
Huh.
Wow. Okay.
When did this get dubbed, by the way?
I think
fairly recent, like fairly close to after it got released, or quite a ways on.
I think like 10 years. I think this is just one that like Ocean or ADV or someone just picked up in like the late 90s when, anime dubbing was starting to pop off a little bit, but this was dubbed pre-Gundam Wing.
Got it. Oh, okay.
This was dubbed before Gundam Wing came out on Cartoon Network.
That's the big question. Because we talked a bit about how Wing was like the big Final Fantasy VII moment. Just to tie it back into Final Fantasy VII, right? Mm-hmm. When it really broke through in the Western zeitgeist.
Yes.
Or at least the nerd zeitgeist, I guess.
Yeah. No, it was Wing was big in like the general zeitgeist. Like you could go to Walmart and pick up like Gundam model kits. It was a minor phenomenon. It was like the number 2 ranked show on Cartoon Network the year it came out. The only show that beat it was, of course, Dragon Ball Z.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was huge.
Yes. Anyway, back to the story. Yes, Joe.
I also want to just stop for a moment and point out how cool I think Al's camera is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's basically a Sony Mavica, which was those digital cameras that you recorded on like 3.5-inch floppy disks. I love those.
And it's widescreen too.
Yeah,
it's ultra widescreen. It's almost like a Scouter because it's got like a zoom function.
Oh my god! Yeah, it is a Scouter.
That's right. Yes. Oh man, I just like. Originally, when I was watching this, I was like, "Oh man, they basically just invented the Mavica." Knowing like, "Oh, this is the late '80s," and then I go and research, the history of the Mavica. Like, no, that's definitely about the time those things came out. So it's entirely possible that's exactly what that is.
I miss discs like that. I miss mini discs. Anyway,
physical media.
After Bernie gives Al his insignia in exchange for the camcorder disc, another Zaku comes and picks him up and takes off. And then later on, Al returns to school, where everyone is being really mean to Dorothy. Because she earlier was saying the Federation didn't have mobile suits, but in the battle that was going on, we saw the Federation pull out some of their gyms. I believe the gym commands were the big ones in that battle. But another kid runs in and yells at, "School is canceled!" And all the kids are cheering and clapping because, hey, you know what's good? When you have a battle in your neighborhood and they cancel school.
Yeah, that's the best, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love war.
The innocence of children in the face of atrocities will be a recurring theme.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Right up to the very last lines of this series.
Oh, God, don't stop. No, you can't. We can't talk about that yet. That's going to break me down.
It's so good.
All right. Jump ahead a little bit.
We gotta move. We gotta keep moving.
Anyway, so we cut now to Granada, which is a lunar base.
The moon!
Yes, on the moon. Did you guys happen to catch the name of this guy who's who's commanding the Cyclops team from, like, above?
Colonel Killing?
Colonel Killing.
Why not?
Yes.
Just go for it.
This Colonel Killing is voiced by Koji Totani, which doesn't really have much in the way of credits, but he is Revolver Ocelot in the original Metal Gear Solid.
Huh. All right.
Everything's coming back to everyone's favorite mecha franchise, Metal Gear. Anyway,
so Bernie, having been shot down in this last battle, thinks that he's on the outs. He's in a rut, and he's about to be punished. But he gets linked up with the rest of the special forces, which we saw at the beginning of this film. Yeah, minus Sans Andy, obviously.
Yes,
that'd be Hardy, Mikhail, aka Misha, and Gabriel. Right?
Yes.
Or they call him Garcia.
Yeah, Garcia. Yeah, we have Hardy Steiner, who's voiced by Yosuke Akimoto. He plays Zaldin and Dilan from Kingdom Hearts, and he was the voice of the announcer and Master Asia from Mobile Fighter G Gundam. Gabriel Ramirez Garcia is voiced by Bin Shimada, who he was Paptimus Sirocco in Mobile Suit Zeta Gundam, the sequel to Mobile Suit Gundam. Bradford, this one's for you, and I don't know what this means, but in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, he voices Gondor, Future Redeemed.
Hell yeah! Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
He also
that is specifically a Bradford cut.
That's exactly why I pulled that one for you. He is also Broly in Dragon Ball, and he is. God damn it, he is Foxy in One Piece. the guy with the slow fruit with the most annoying goddamn laugh in the show.
Oh my god.
And then
I totally forgot about Foxy.
Yeah. And then Mikhail Misha Kaminsky is voiced by Yu Shimaka. This is my favorite. These are my favorite credits in the entire thing. He is I'm pretty sure he's the official Japanese dub actor for Goofy Goof. And then he's
sure, why not?
He's also the dub voice for Chief Wiggum on The Simpsons.
It works. It really works.
Yeah. But yeah, Colonel Killing is dressing down the Cyclops team for failing their the mission at the Arctic base, excuse me. And but he gives the team a new mission to acquire, or, if possible, if all else fails, destroy the new type use Gundam that they might be working on in Riah Colony in Side 6.
Joseph.
Yes.
Sir.
New types are people that were born in space, never touched Earth, or were not born on Earth, right?
No. New type... So Gundam was... came out of the 70s like ESP like craze. So new types are kind of like espers, but not quite. The kind of the idea behind a new type is that you have a deep innate understanding of different things around you, which explains how, a 16-year-old boy was able to jump in a giant robot and start just fucking shit up and almost single-handedly turning the tide of a war. Because
I'm mistaken. Now I know.
Yeah, and kind of a recurring theme in Gundam is new types like understand the opponent. They understand the enemy on a deep level, which makes them very good at like combat because they know exactly what their opponent is going to do. So it makes them very valuable weapons, and so the main new type in the original Gundam, the main character Amuro, is a new type, and that comes up a little bit later on, but yeah, he is a new type, and yeah, new types are just basically kind of like espers, but a little more hippy-dippy, like communication through long distances in space. You are kind of correct, Bradford, where the idea behind new types is that humanity's like move to space spurned on the evolution of new types, where to deal with like long distance communications, humans evolved this ability to communicate like telepathically-ish through long distances.
So I got that through osmosis, basically, and got it half right. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway,
well, you're saying I'm basically right. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, but no. Colonel Killing is telling the Cyclops team, "Don't worry that Andy died. You're getting a new, experienced pilot." And then, really funny smash cut to a friend telling Bernie as Bernie's walking along, just like, "Hey man, you lost your Zaku in your very first sortie, huh? That's stupid, man. Wow." And then Bernie introduces himself to the Cyclops team as their new member, and Hardy Steiner, the leader, gives them the mission. Steiner, Misha, and Garcia will infiltrate Side 6 ahead of time and pose as a construction company. And Bernie's going to bring in a cargo ship with a special assault type mobile suit. Zeon forces will start a battle outside the colony to cover for Bernie to make his way in. But when Bernie asks how do I make sure I don't get shot, Steiner replies, the Cyclops team doesn't need idiots who die to friendly fire.
That doesn't stop them from putting a dead body in the seat next to him and then firing a friggin' RPG in through the front window of the carrier just to make it all the more believable that he's been in a firefight.
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. Yeah. No, that part's jeez. Yeah.
That's rough, dude. Yeah.
Anyway, but before that, Al has a meeting with the principal. His grades are bad, and yes, like Brad said earlier, he lied to his dad. He told his dad he's been doing good. He said like some of his grades weren't great, but he's doing well in science, and we learned that he's not even good in science.
It's one of those tactical kid lies where you tell you tell some lies and some truth just to give yourself a little bit of wiggle room if it actually the truth comes out.
Mm-hmm.
To make it all a little bit more believable. You can't say you're getting straight A's. You got to say I'm not doing so hot in this, but anyways.
Yeah.
We've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
Who among us hasn't lied to their parents about their grades?
I certainly have.
Me neither.
I certainly did. Anyway,
later on in the night, Al is having a restless night of sleep, and he just can't get to bed, so he sneaks out. Chris next door out walking her cat within her arms. I don't know.
Sure.
Yeah, she catches him, but promises that she won't tell Al's mom. By the way, I forgot to mention earlier, Al's mom does have a voice actor we have heard before on this show. She is voiced by Ai Orikasa, who voiced Katre Ribera Wiener in Mobile Suit Gundam Wing Endless Waltz.
There you go.
Yeah.
Lot of tee-ups for the Triple Threat Club.
Yep.
We sure do.
You gotta keep them on. We gotta keep it honest, though.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Anyway, so Al, because he can't sleep, he runs to the park in the middle of the night. He runs to the forest and climbs in the down Zaku, where he falls asleep. And then we cut to space where, as Bradford mentioned, the smuggling mission begins with Bernie's getting in a cargo ship, and then, the dead body getting just fucking nuked next to him to make it look like a battle. Bernie, because this is an OVA, you have to include some sort of like Gundam action. If you're paying $50 or $60 worth for a VHS tape, you better get some goddamn mobile suit action. So
what the hell is all this like interpersonal conflict? I came here to see robot fights, damn it.
Yeah. So in space we have a battle between some Zaku's, Gelgoog Jaegers, and Rickdom 2s versus Space Command and Space Command gyms, and I believe some mass production type gun cannons. Yeah. Any thoughts on any of these suits, or are we saving it up for like the big stuff?
I mean, I like the Zaku's design just in general.
The Zaku is like an all-time design. It really is.
It's a classic.
It's such a good design. So Bernie pulls his cargo ship into the port and is just like desperately yelling like, "Hey, there's a battle! Let me in! Let me in! Let me in!" And when he goes up to the cargo inspector, he gets through a lot of the paperwork, but he doesn't have like the receiver's like itinerary, and he's just like kind of freaking out. He's just like, what the fuck? I need that. Like, he's like, come on, man, it's just one paper. I just said to survive this battle. Can you help me? But at the last minute, Steiner, Misha, and Garcia show up and help him out and provide the necessary documents. And they give a sob story about it, like, oh, they need this instruction equipment tomorrow, or else, the boss is gonna have their ass about it. So, yeah, they're able to,
as one does.
Yeah, they're able to smuggle the mobile suit into the colony. By the way, just as a side note, this cargo inspector also shows up in G-Quux.
Wait, really?
Yes, yeah.
Like this specific one?
Like if it's not him, it looks exactly like him.
It's got to be an intentional callback.
It is 100%
right?
an intentional callback.
All right.
And there's one
That's
more
impressive.
Later on. So Al
uses the police to link up with them. Basically, we can cut this part a little bit short.
Mm-hmm.
He sees Bernie in one of the trucks, tries to hitch a ride with them, falls off, uses the police in order to track them down by remembering the license plate number.
And he
lies about calls off the cops once he realizes they're about to murder this cop.
Yeah.
By pretending to be Bernie's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then more or less tries to get in nice with the Cyclops group.
Yeah.
They realize he can be of some use because he actually knows the port.
Yeah. They give him a badge. They give him a badge.
They give him a badge with a bug inside of it because they can't trust him.
Yeah. Bernie is told to drive Al home, and while they're away, Hardy, Misha, and Garcia talk about how they want Bernie to keep an eye on Al, partially to get Bernie out of the way because they know Bernie's a noob. They know he's not an experienced pilot like Killing told them. So they just want him. They just don't want to deal with him. He'll get in the way.
Yeah, just give him some busy work and let him deal with the kid.
Yeah.
Is this where they reveal that it's more or less a suicide mission, or is that a little
No,
bit later?
that's a couple episodes late. That's like next episode,
okay.
I think.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, I forgot to say this episode that we're on now is called At the End of the Rainbow.
With a question mark?
Yes. Oh, that actually makes sense now, knowing the director worked on a version of a. Oh wait, no. Yeah, that's.
There you go.
I guess it's a little bit of Wizard of Oz is over the rainbow, not at the end of the rainbow. Never mind.
Yeah, because my next question was going to be like, what's at the end of the rainbow? Like, what is the pot of gold in this analogy?
I think it's what happens at the end with Al with what Al gets footage of. But yeah. Anyway, as the Bernie and Al are going to Al's home, Bernie is lying to Al about his accomplishments, and Al asks him, like, have you ever killed anyone, Bernie? And Bernie's like, yeah, I was just one kill away from being an ace. And it's, again, clear that Bernie is just lying through his teeth, but Al is a dumb 11-year-old and is easily impressed and doesn't really think about things.
Is it true that if there's a part of a man's head where if you shoot it, it will explode?
Have you fired one gun whilst jumping through the air?
No, I haven't fired a gun up in the air while yelling, ah. I think this is also the point where Bernie meets Chris.
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet. I'm jumping ahead too far.
A little bit. Right. But yeah, Al gets home and his mom's mad at him because he has to do his homework.
That's
and
right.
Bernie's just outside in the car listening to the mic that's in Al's badge that's bugged. So Al laid at home at night. He's trying to sleep, and his mom goes out for the night. And all of a sudden, Al hears some noise outside with Chris yelling for to call the cops. Al looks out the window and he sees Bernie's just lying on the ground, and Chris is holding a bat. And Chris was like, I saw him trying to sneak into your house, and I thought he was a prowler, so I beat the shit out of him.
Your instincts were correct. On the other hand,
but no, Al is just like, oh no, he's my brother. Don't worry about it. He's my
brother from another mother.
Yeah. So Bernie and Al get to like having coffee with the Mackenzies, and it's, during the conversation that comes up, Chris reveals that she's part of the Federation forces, And Al is just like, oh, Bernie's a soldier too. And Bernie's just like, oh no, I'm just in the reserve.
Or was in the reserves, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's there's a little bit of you can tell there's a little bit of sparks between Bernie and Chris as Bernie and Al leave for the night.
And you know this is gonna come to a head.
Oh yeah, things are gonna go great for them.
Oh yeah.
The next
definitely not a star-crossed lovers type situation.
Yeah, no.
They're definitely not gonna murder each other at some point, right? Anyways,
the next day, while they're after Al goes to meet the Cyclops team, and Bernie and Al is asking Steiner, why isn't Bernie the pilot for this mission? Why isn't he piloting the mobile suit? And Misha and Garcia are both laughing a lot. And they're just like, "Wow, you killed 4? Wow, I thought you killed 20." And they're just roasting him for being again a complete and total newbie. And then we cut to a space battle. Again, it's the OVA. We gotta get that mobile suit action in there. But JK, it's just revealed that it's a simulation being run by Chris, and we're introduced to the what is it? The
Alex?
Yes, let me get the correct name for it. The RX-78 NT1 Gundam NT1 Alex, which is...
I'm glad he has a nickname.
Yeah, it's specifically, I think they mentioned it's specifically designed for a new type on the white base for his use, which is the major reference to Amuro in the original Mobile Suit Gundam.
The main character of the original series.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, Alec and Chris is, it's brought up because Chris is like, wow, that's really fast. Who's supposed to handle it? And then we are treated to more mobile suit action. It's a montage as the Kaempfer's getting built and they're testing it out. And Al and Bernie are sent on a secret mission to look for the Federation base where they are, perhaps storing and maintaining the Gundam and doing stuff. And Bernie kind of clues in that it's a wild goose chase because he's just like, they're just trying to get rid of me.
But they actually track it down.
Yes, because remember that port worker back in the first episode who told Al where the bathroom was? Al sees him outside of one of the bases and is like, holy shit, that's the guy. I'm pretty sure that's the guy. I think that's where the Gundam is. So Al and Bernie, they do something very smart. They decide to try to sneak into the base through the tunnels underneath the colony.
And then when that fails, they actually go outside into space, into the vents.
They realize all the corridors are blocked off by newly made doors, so they're like, it's got to be in there. So yeah, they go out into space to go in to try to make it into the facility. And I do really like the space scene because it's just silent. It's just absolute silence for a good amount of time, and the only thing you hear is them talking skin-to-skin contact.
Right when they're in each other's faces, otherwise it's completely silent.
Yeah. Anyway, as after they go through space to get to the inside of the facility, Al, without really thinking about it, and against Bernie's commands, goes through a vent and just while he's looking up through a window between some vending machines, he sees a little bit of the Gundam where he tries to take a video. And as he's taking this video, some Federation soldiers start walking towards the little perch where he's standing. And as they are rounding the corner towards him, that's when the episode ends. And we pick up with episode 4, Over the River and Through the Woods.
To grandmother's house we go, because guess what? It's finally Christmas.
This is when we finally get... This episode is when we finally get Christmas.
An hour and 20 minutes into the podcast.
Hey, there's more Christmas in this than other stuff you've seen.
There definitely is. The back half of this is very important.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, Al is after he's almost caught taking video of the Gundam, but he manages to escape without getting caught. And while this is going on, Steiner is watching a news broadcast showing Zeon ships are leaving the Riah colony that they're on. And Garcia meets the informant, their informant, who is a bartender, Charlie.
Charlie.
Yes.
Oh, hey, Charlie.
Charlie. We all love Charlie, don't we, folks?
Charlie.
Yeah.
Oh.
A friendly bartender. Sorry, Battlefield Earth joke for those like me who are obsessed with Battlefield Earth. He gives Garcia blueprints for the Gundam facility, and uniforms, and a letter for Steiner. And as Al and Bernie leave the facility, Bernie's like, do you think the pictures are going to be any good? And Al's like, oh yeah, I think they are. And then Bernie asks him, you're an optimist, aren't you? No irony there. That will not come back to bite anybody in the ass.
So tensions are ratcheting up, and we know that Riah, or Side 6 or Riah Colony is basically about.
Yes.
Sorry?
Side 6 is a group of colonies. Riah is this specific colony.
Okay, so Riah Colony is about to ally itself with the Federation at some point. They're already more or less doing that, and they've just told all Zeon ships to leave.
Yes,
more or less.
Even though Side 6 is supposed to be neutral, which is something you learned in the original series. Side 6 is neutral, but Riah Colony is working with the Federation and helping the Federation develop experimental weapons. So, you know.
Right. It's one of those under the table things, but kind of an open secret at this point, and just formalities haven't been done yet.
Mm-hmm.
But they're starting to ratchet up.
Yeah.
Around this time, we also find out that the Cyclops team has figured out that this is more or less a suicide mission.
Mm-hmm.
They've sent a complete newbie with them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't expect them to be able to boost the Gundam. They at best they expect them to destroy it. But Colonel Killing has a backup plan in that he is going to nuke Riah Colony if the Gundam is not destroyed by midnight Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
By 12 a.m. December 25th.
Yeah, that part's getting a little ahead of ourselves, but
oh, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Yeah, like Bernie while dropping off Al at home after being scolded and actually punched for doing a stupid thing like breaking into a Federation facility to sneak pictures of a Gundam. He drops Al off at home, and actually drops him off at Chris's house, and Chris will be like, I'll just say Al was, playing with me, and then, and he stayed the night here. And Bernie sees illustrations Al made of the Cyclops team, and as he's dropping off Al, he's, some sparks fly between Bernie and Chris, and they ask each other to use their first names, which is kind of in Japanese.
A big deal.
In Japanese, yeah, you refer to somebody by their last name unless you're like very familiar with them. So it's a big deal to be given permission to call someone their first name. Anyway, Who likes Christmas?
I do.
This is when we get the Christmas montage showing that, yes, this takes place at Christmas time. We get the Christmas music, Santa balloons, all the fun stuff as everybody is, as Misha's buying tools to cut through outer walls of the colony. Garcia's planting some bombs, and Misha's storing weapon caches all around the colony.
Right, yes.
Yeah, Al gets in an argument with his classmates because they're telling him Zeon are the bad guys, and Al is sticking up saying, no, Zeon are the good guys. The Zaku's are way cooler than the Federation mobile suits.
I mean, he's right about that part.
At
least in this series, I would argue.
Yes. But yeah, this is where Steiner, meets up with Charlie the bartender, and Charlie says, you're just a decoy to find the Gundam. And Steiner's like, I figured it out. We're getting a newbie. All the ships are leaving. We have to find our own escape route. We know we're going to die. And Steiner even is like, yeah, Zeon's going to lose the war. What we're doing here does not change the outcome of the war. We've already lost. And so the best they can hope for is to just finish their mission and go home.
Right.
Yeah. And but yeah, Al once in a rooftop discussion with Bernie, Bernie says that like, oh yeah, the Gundam's really powerful, but I could beat it in a 50-50. I have a 50-50 chance of beating it. And
see that mountain? I could throw a football over it.
Yep, exactly, yeah. And Al hatches a plan to talk to Chris about visiting the Gundam facility to try to help out the Cyclops team, because he's still in the belief that that he can help them sneak in and accomplish their mission.
This is when he meets up with Richard.
Yeah, he meets up with Dr. Richard Lumumba. Yeah, Steiner. As that is happening, the Cyclops team launches their plan. Misha stands up in the Kämpfer. Which what are our thoughts on the Kämpfer?
It's that one meme with the Gundam shooting something over their head that says "War is bad," and then me looking at it and saying, "Wow, cool robot."
Yeah, that's me. I love the Kämpfer. Again, I have a small high grade of it at home, and I have a master grade larger version of it at my work. So yeah, I kind of like the Kämpfer a lot, even though it is like. It's very Xeon, it's very Nazi-ish, but I'm like, wow, cool robot.
My only criticism is needs more spikes.
Yeah, I could do with a couple more spikes.
It's got a bit of a phallic thing going on with the horn.
Yeah.
Not complaining.
Yeah.
Pretty cool robot.
Yeah. As Misha launches the Kämpfer, Steiner, Garcia, and Bernie sneak into the Federation facility with their special uniforms to try to destroy the Gundam, and they have set off a timed bomb that will blow a hole in the colony for escape. And Garcia, in a rare moment of like intimacy, like on like person to person, like kind of he knows shit could go wrong. He tells Bernie like, "Don't die. I don't want to lose the only person I can boss around." And then
a little backhanded sweetness there.
Yes, yeah.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Al, meanwhile, calls the Cyclops HQ and tells Bernie, like, "Hey, I got permission from Chris to go to the facility tomorrow." And Bernie is just like, "What the fuck? No, don't go. You can't go tomorrow.
What?
Don't go to school tomorrow."
Yeah, like straight up, don't go there tomorrow. We're gonna, like, shit's gonna go down. Yeah, this is when the plan really launches into action. Al meets Dr. Lumumba, and the Cyclops team enters the Federation facility, and Garcia is killing some guards in a control room very silently while Bernie and Steiner stand guard outside. Bernie, one of the Federation soldiers, notices Bernie has an Australian accent and asks Bernie, like, "How is Sydney?" And Bernie says, "Oh, it's wonderful. The snow is beautiful this time of year." Yep. Yeah.
You gave yourself
Should've
away.
paid attention in geography.
Yep. Yeah, and then Misha, meanwhile, activates the Kämpfer and starts walking through city streets with the idea that the Federation, that the colony security forces are not going to attack him because there's a lot of civilians around. So while we get a little stuff with Al talking with Dr. Lumumba about prosthetic technology and how mobile suits can provide these this medical technology that's very helpful. They also come from mobile suits which are evil and designed only to hurt people and don't make anybody happy. But yeah, and meanwhile, the Kämpfer is continuing to walk through city streets and starts flying. And while the colony defense force is mobilized, the Federation ships nearby are asked for help, and the Federation says, "No, we're only gonna drop in our troops if it's necessary. It'll be good if you guys learn how to fight." The Federation does bring in a ship and declares they will deploy GMs and gun cannons if the Kämpfer gets too close. But as the Kämpfer is like walking through the city streets, Professor Lumumba gets a call about it and allows for the deployment of the Gundam Alex,
piloted by Chris.
Yes.
Let's
Yes.
go, Alex. Let's
But
get
no,
it out of there.
but we now cut to Bernie, Steiner, and Garcia approaching the Gundam in its like hangar where it's just being stored. The soldier from outside the control room realizes that it's not. It doesn't snow in Australia during December. It's summer there. So they're caught empty-handed, and Garcia just starts blasting, and a firefight erupts in the Gundam hangar. And this part really gets me because it kind of nauseates me just how violent this gets. It goes to shit so quickly, and there is so much goddamn blood.
It's a nasty firefight, and yes, this is probably the most gore the series has had so far.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, brains just get splattered left and right.
Yeah. In the ensuing chaos, like Steiner and Garcia eventually get shot. The colony defense forces start firing at the Kampfer, and they miss, and they hit the school. That's like Brad said earlier. That was some foreshadowing from Al's video game.
Yes.
Yeah. The Federation ship starts launching mobile suits, which are easily dispatched by the Kampfer, and one mobile suit crashes and just blows up an entire residential neighborhood, like causing a power outage and causes other secondary explosions. Garcia and crew are like Bernie and crew are just like pinned down by fire. Garcia just grabs some mines and rushes at the Gundam to try to blow it up in a suicide attempt, but gets shot and self-detonates before he can actually attack the Gundam.
Right.
And now this is where we get Chris launching in the Alex to fight the Kampfer. And she is upset that she has to fight inside the colony, but she recognizes it's better than Zeon getting the Alex, and that, you know, if fighting continues, more people will die. So now this is the moment we've all been waiting for. It is the Alex versus Kampfer fight.
Yes.
What do we think of the Alex as a mobile suit?
From what I know of the series, it's I mean, this is the pretty classic
it's
design,
really
right?
close to the original Gundam design. It does have some extra
Right.
little features. Specifically, when it first starts fighting, it's wearing big, thick, chunky gray armor on all of its limbs.
Yes, I love this. I love how like the big bulky armor, and then when it starts taking damage, the armor just kind of like detaches and falls off, and you have like the final form.
It reminds me of when they're trying out cars on the road and they don't want people to take pictures of it and they cover it up with stuff. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
No, I really like the Alex as a design as well, and I really like big chunky suits. So yeah, I really like the Alex with the Chobhem armor.
It looks like a Gundam wearing the big suit from Stop Making Sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The one thing I like about this fight, the coolest weapon, the Heat Axe is great.
The Heat Hawk,
The Heat Hawk is great, but they also during the prep for this fight, the Cyclops team sets up these trailers around the colony, and the Kampfer grabs like this chain mine whip.
Yep.
That's the best way I can describe it.
That
really
is what it's
cool
called.
Weapon.
That is what it's called in the Gunpla manual.
Chain
mine.
Chain mine whip, and it like wraps around an enemy and then it detonates.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
But yeah, it wraps that shit around the Alex and just like detonates it, but and Misha thinks he's won, but then, like Joe said, all of the outside armor of the Alex just pops off, and there's still a full, like, untouched mobile suit underneath.
And then at that point, it's basically over, right?
Yeah, Al after Dr. Lumumba, like, you know, declared emergency, Al is now running outside. He is no longer inside this facility, and he is watching this battle as it's going down. The Kampfer grabs one of its beam sabers because it's out of ammo for everything else and lunges in towards the Alex, but the Alex pops open its forearm and just fires a massive volley of a Gatling gun at the Kaempfer, and it just gets riddled, absolutely riddled full of holes. And
just turns the pilot into Swiss cheese.
Yeah, you get to just see his hand resting on like the armrest of the cockpit, and there's just blood dripping down the rest of his body. And
they show the chair later, and it's riddled with holes and blood and everything like that.
Yeah, you just see holes punched directly through the chair, and yeah, the thing with Gundam is that like a lot of Gundams have like machine guns in the head called head Vulcans, but this is a different level. This kind of like Gatling weaponry is just chewing through the armor, and it's just nasty how violent it is. But yeah, amidst all this chaos, Bernie is pulling Steiner out of this facility, and he hears someone nearby, and he pulls out a gun and points it at the person, and he's pointing it at Al, who has just witnessed all this horror and madness.
It's such a tragic way to end to the episode, and like we're not even close to the real
Oh no, we're still 2 episodes to go, because next up is Episode 5, Say It Ain't So, Bernie! And the opening of this episode is in Granada, Zeon's moon base, which this is the thing Brad mentioned earlier, where Colonel Killing admits that this operation to steal or destroy the prototype Gundam has failed, and it's unknown the status of the Cyclops team, so he just decides, fuck it, we're gonna nuke them. And
let's just nuke the whole site.
Nuke the colony, which one of the commanders nearby argues against it, because he's saying that there in the 1 Year War there is something called the Antarctic Treaty, which disallowed either side from using nuclear weaponry. But Killing is just like, Side 6 hasn't signed that treaty yet, and also if you disobey me, he just shoots the commander and his grunts, and he just assumes command. And then we cut back to Riah Colony, where Chris is being interrogated about what the hell happened with this fight last night. The cops are like, 200 people died, 500 people are injured. Why is there a Federation Gundam in this supposedly neutral colony? Was there there's word that there was a man on the inside. And she just is giving no comment to everything, except for, she does say that she had to fight or else more people would have died.
Right, like the alternative is do nothing and people still die.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, who wants some more Christmas? Because Al is buying some Wonderland, which is this Gundam stand-in for McDonald's. As we get to see on the signs on the windows saying Mally Xmas.
Mally Xmas.
Yes, which also this was in G-Quux as well. The most recent episode last night featured Wonderland as well.
When I first saw the Wonderland, I thought it was just some kind of department store until like he later goes to find Bernie, and he opens the bag and reveals like, no, it's like full McDonald's meal.
It's burger. It's not just burger. It's like
burger.
It's burger.
Yeah, it's a lot of burger.
It's a
I don't know if you guys know, but Gundam absolutely loves burgers. There's iconic memes of Bright Noah, the captain of the main ship in the original Gundam, just like angrily taking a bite out of a burger. There's in Zeta Gundam, there's a scene where one of the characters has a meeting at a hamburger restaurant called McDaniel.
And of course, at the very end of this, someone is described as having been reduced
Yes,
to
okay, so
meat.
that's in the sub that you watched, yeah. Yes. There's a reason I chose a picture of Bernie eating a burger for his character portrait.
Oh.
Anyway, as Al is buying this fabulous hamburger feast, as he's running away, he sees a kid's dead body being pulled from the rubble of the city.
I assumed it was the school.
I don't think that's the school. I think it was just like a random house, but we get more about the school later.
Right. I think I just misunderstood and thought that was the school. But anyway, the plan. I guess the plan now is set, and Bernie has made his decision. Like,
yeah,
he's gotta
Bernie
get out.
Bernie has some flashbacks while he's waiting for Al to give him burger, and he just he's reliving Steiner's last moments where Steiner's like, "Did we destroy the Gundam?" Bernie replies, "Yes," and Steiner says, "You're a terrible liar," and he thinks about the bartender giving him a passport and saying, "Hey, Zeon's going to nuke this colony if the Gundam's not destroyed by Christmas. Get the hell out of here." And when Bernie is like, "Why don't you run?" the bartender's like, "I'm old and I like this colony actually," and he doesn't really want to leave.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
Al arrives with the burgers, and Al is Al isn't eating, and he's just shell shocked and is like, he says, asks Bernie, "People die really easily, huh?" And Bernie just angrily kind of tells him to just suck it up, that, yeah, anybody can die. A nobody can die. Your captain can die. Just eat your food. And Bernie, as like a courtesy, tells Al that he's getting the fuck out of the colony because, hey, the colony is going to be nuked. You and your mom should just leave, take a vacation somewhere, anywhere, and just get the hell out of here.
Right.
Al is just like, "Oh, all we have to do is fix the Zaku, and you can beat the Gundam. You can be able to do that. You said you could do that." And this is where Bernie just breaks the fuck down, and he just says, "I lied about it. I lied about being an ace. I'm a newbie. I lost my Zaku on my first sortie." Rips up the badge and shows that it was a bug to make sure he wasn't blabbing, and that Al,
Watch.
Yeah,
you can see the exact moment where Al's heart breaks.
Yes, exactly. And he just and Al is just absolutely gutted by all this, and he says he'll tell the police about this plan. Yeah, but Bernie's just like, "Hey, they're just gonna execute you," and Al just runs off crying. And then I don't know if you guys got the vibes that I did from this scene, but Al runs into an arcade and he sees kids playing violent video games and gets some very specific images of the colony being nuked. And then he is accosted by a cop and then he runs away. Did you guys get T2 vibes from that?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Because I was just like,
I mean, I realized this was produced before T2.
Yeah.
But I could see a scenario where James Cameron saw this and kind of reworked a little bit of it into like the opening of Terminator 2, because like the scene of the colony being nuked, it just, that alone is such a Terminator 2 kind of
image.
But then we have this thematic juxtaposition between this youthful, naive enthusiasm for war and violence and the actual reality of the situation.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And one thing to note, we know James Cameron is kind of a weeb. Like, he wanted for years to make Battle Angel Alita a movie.
Right. Yeah.
Like, that was his pet project.
That was his baby before he thought about Avatar.
So there's a non-zero chance that he saw this in a bootleg sub that somebody got somewhere. I'm sure there was a legitimate sub of it before a dub, but 80s, 90s bootleg subs were a big part of the fandom.
Yeah.
89 to 91, like it's plausible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
If this is direct to video and it was on a VHS, why is there like a mid-episode stinger?
I do not know why I think that's just like a holdover. I don't know. There's no real reason for there to be an eye catch, but a lot of OVAs of this era did have eye catches.
You know what? I'd be willing to bet it's part of like they're used to producing in this manner. They have the front half and the back half, so it just makes structural sense to do it that way.
Yeah, and I think just to keep it consistent with like TV shows, it's just like this is just how we do it.
Yeah, like I had just kind of automatically assumed it was a case where like, well, we're trying to future-proof this in case we do broadcast.
That is also
that too, maybe
definitely possible.
I had the same thought, like, why would you produce it like this? But that must be it.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, after Al runs away from a cop, who asks if it shows him a picture and is like, "Have you seen this boy?"
Have you seen this boy?
No. Al is running away and runs into Chris, and Chris asks him, how's Bernie doing? And Al is just like, yeah, he's, but he's not really committed about it. But he asks Chris, like, hey, if you knew someone was going to come and destroy the colony, what would you do? And Chris says she would fight because she couldn't bear running and just being alone while everyone else is dead. She would rather stand up and fight, but people have different ideas, and she would just do it because that's what she feels is right, and she wouldn't do it for anybody else's sake.
Right. Yeah.
And then we cut from that to Bernie going in the spaceport and just trying to buy a ticket to anywhere he can. He just
literally anywhere.
He gets a ticket to Francesca, a resort colony looking place.
Is this the only time Francesca is mentioned in the greater Gundam verse?
I will say very likely not, but I do not know of another time it's mentioned. Because Gundam is a little bit like Star Wars, where there's like a vast extended universe that I'm not aware of because there's a bunch of manga and stuff.
And a bunch of light novels and stuff like that too.
Not necessarily light novels, really just manga and like Japanese only video games and stuff like that.
It's just interesting because like somebody mentions Francesca being actually kind of horrible, which kind of piqued my curiosity.
Yeah.
I'm picturing like a Dubai type situation where it's like it's nice on the surface, but it's like built with near like slave labor or what have you. I don't know.
That's the vibe I get. It's just very, very beautiful advertising and imaging, but kind of a shitty place. But, anyway, Al is walking along after meeting Chris, and he sees the destroyed school, and he runs into his buddies, Che and Telcott, who are telling him that Al is just like, oh my god, you guys are okay? Is everyone okay? And they're like, well, duh, the attack happened at night, so everyone's okay.
But check out these cool bullets we found.
yeah. And Al just starts tearing up, man. He's not doing well. He's going through it.
He has a bad time. The best bit about this is that Telcott finds like a fucking artillery shell casing, and he has it in his bag.
Yeah,
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's absolutely something a kid would do, though.
Oh, yeah. But yeah,
I started to get this idea that Al is having this reaction, like this intense emotional reaction, not necessarily because he's witnessed like the atrocities of war, but more because he realizes he's complicit in a lot of
things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think it's both because like he also like he saw like a huge battle in front of his eyes, and then his best buddy pointed a gun at him.
Right.
That's true. That did just happen.
Also,
to him. Anyway, okay,
did you mention when he was bringing the burger to Bernie, he sees a body being pulled from some wreckage? It's like some rubble.
Yeah.
Yes.
He sees like a young kid getting pulled from some rubble.
Yeah.
Okay. So at the spaceport, Chris is there on the phone.
No, it's not Chris.
Well, okay, it's not Chris. Yeah. I'm trying to just move us.
Yeah,
Bernie
confuses her for Chris.
Yeah.
Bernie thinks she's Chris. Therefore, I thought it was Chris.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he realizes it's not Chris, and it's just like a drunk redhead. And she floats over to the phone and just calls her ex, and is just like, you lied, you betrayed me, you said you would love me forever. You're the one who said let's get married. And I'm going to Francesca, and Francesca actually sucks ass, and I hate it.
That's it.
Right.
There it is.
And Bernie is just like flashing back to all the lies he told Al, and just thinking about, he's just like, you know what? Actually, I care about Al and Chris. He thinks specifically about Al and Chris. And then the next day, not the next day, but like later, Al is eating dinner with his mom, and Al's mom reveals that like, oh, we made up with Dad.
Dad's
and
he's coming back, home, so he can die Christmas. In the nuclear hellfire as well.
Yeah, he's coming back on Christmas Eve, and now Al is freaking out because Dad's gonna die in the nuke too.
All right.
And then we see see Bernie.
Go on.
We see Bernie like calling Al, and Bernie just Al's just stressed, thinking about everyone dying, and Bernie calls him and says, I'm not leaving. I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna fight. We can do this. And then we get Al saying, "I love you, Bernie," and Bernie replying, "Stupid kid."
Yeah, stupid
And then
kid.
it's episode 6, the final episode, War in the Pocket.
Hey, that's
So-
the name of the series. So a
Yep.
big part of the first half of this episode is more or less a montage of Al and Bernie putting together a plan and collecting all
Yeah.
of the tools and the pieces that they need to repair the Zaku that they're going to use to defeat this Gundam.
Yeah, like Al, they find the feds are about to tow one of Misha's like weapons trailers, but Al starts beating up their car with a pipe and just screaming, "Give me back my dad! Give me back my dad! My dad died because of you guys."
Yeah.
And it's even though Al is lying, it's still kind of harrowing, and the Federation officers feel bad about it.
And hey,
so
they get a heat hawk and a bunch of grenades.
Yes. But Bernie is just like, well, we need something to counter the Gundam's long-range weaponry, but we don't know how to get a rifle. But while they're watching a Christmas parade, Bernie has a great idea because he sees a Santa floating. They break into an inflatable company's warehouse and they just steal a couple guys.
They just steal a couple Christmas guys.
They steal some Christmas guys,
and they
kidnap Santa.
And they rig it up in the woods outside of the lab.
Yeah, Bernie realizes that fighting in the woods is the best way to fight the Gundam because it limits the Gundam's long range usage, and also civilians won't get hurt in that area. And then we get a montage set to the OP again as they go about. They fix the Zaku with stealing parts from downed mobile suits just laying around the colony. Al buying tools.
Yep.
Oh, this is where we get the Christmas parade. Where
right, yeah. And then Al's just running down the street holding like a giant pile of tools in his hand.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah. This is where we get the Christmas parade where Bernie gives Al a box and the tape and he says, "Hey, if I die, watch the tape and follow the instructions on it. But I'm probably not gonna die."
Yes.
But just in case.
Just in case I do. Which is
so everything's set up and Al and his mom go to reunite with his dad at the spaceport. And the plan is supposed to be going off very soon, but Al hears a disturbing piece of news.
Yeah, his dad says, "Oh, wouldn't you believe it? There was a battle outside my shuttle. It was really intense. We almost got hit a couple times, but a Xeon spaceship surrendered, and they heard that there was even a nuke on board."
What?
And Al just goes, "Holy shit!" And he just starts running after Bernie because Bernie doesn't need to fight anymore. Bernie does launch the Zaku in the woods, where it is, and Chris gets permission to launch in the slightly dinged up Alex. And as they are, the Zaku is just speeding along the inside of the colony. It's drawing the Gundam towards the woods. The high command is telling Chris, don't give chase because the flat ground gives Alex the advantage. But Chris says she's okay with it because the woods are unoccupied, showing that she's kind of on the same level as Bernie for saying she doesn't want civilians to get hurt. And while this entire battle is happening, this entire time, Al is just running after Bernie, just yelling, "Bonnie!" Yeah, just yelling that he doesn't have to fight anymore, that the nuke is defused. And while Bernie's just laying in wait, he trips Christmas floats, and Chris starts, firing her Gatling at them.
At these Christmas guys.
At the Christmas guys, the Santa Claus and a snowman. And
she hates these balloons.
Yeah. And while she's distracted by these balloons, Bernie comes in from the side with the heat hawk. He hits Chris fires her Gatling at Bernie's cockpit, hitting him partially, and Bernie slices off the Alex's arm and slices a bit into the cockpit, hurting Chris. So They start, they're rolling down the hill together, engaged in hand-to-hand combat. They trip off a huge explosion from some grenades, and Bernie and Al gets thrown backwards. And as the Zaku and the Alex both stand up for a final showdown, you see the Heat Hawk just slowly sizzling. And you hear the beam saber like just make literally he's making the Star Wars lightsaber sound effect as it activates.
Oh yeah.
And you see them as they run towards each other. Al is running, like they're running towards each other side by side. Like the way it's shot, they're running towards each other like it's hard to describe it, but they're running at each other. And while Al is running into the frame, yelling for Bernie to stop doing this. And what happens is Bernie Zaku chops off the Alex's head, but that's not where the pilot is. The pilot's in the chest, and Alex puts her beam saber directly through the Zaku's cockpit and engine, causing the Zaku to explode, sending both the Gundam and Al flying backwards.
In the words of one person after the report, Bernie is hamburger.
Yeah, the medics, the Federation, the Feddies arrive, and they see Al up against a tree in shock, and they're, trying to say, what are you doing here? As the medics pull the Gundam pilot out of, they pull Chris out of the Gundam, Al sees that it's Chris in the Gundam, and he realizes that Chris was piloting the Gundam, and she's the one who just turned Bernie, as you said, into a bunch of hamburger. And then, and as we get that horrifying realization for Al, we cut to Al's room where we see the tape and the box that Bernie left behind. And the tape is Bernie just staring directly at Al's camcorder, saying he has prepared a box full of tape and evidence for everything that has happened so far and why he was here. And he admits on this video that he will probably die. Even though he told Al earlier that he probably wouldn't die, here he's saying, I probably will die. Take this to the cops. And Bernie says, if I just took this tape and this evidence with me, it would just be like running away, and I don't want to do that. He wasn't doing this to avenge the Cyclops team or Steiner or anything. He just wanted to fight because he thought it was the right thing to do. And he also gives Al a couple final notes. He says, don't hate the Federation or the pilot of the Gundam. They're just like him, just doing what they think is right, which is one of the, overriding themes of Gundam is just like there are people just doing what they think is right on both sides of this conflict. Even, if the structures of power they work under are bad, you still have these people on both sides who are doing what they think is best. And then, finally, Bernie signs off by telling Al, say hi to Chris for me.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Damn.
Oh, God. That gets me. Say hi to Chris for me just gets at my soul. And it only gets worse.
It only gets worse.
Yes, because several days later, Al is woken up because it's his first day back at school. And he's eating breakfast with his family as his dad, who is apparently taking a shower in his pajamas, just comes wandering into the kitchen. And
Dad's a piece of work, isn't he?
Yeah. Then Dad is reading a newspaper that says that the 1-year war has ended. The war is over. And Al goes outside and heads off to school, and he runs into Chris. Chris informs him that she's being transferred back to Earth, but she wanted to say goodbye to him. And she says she's sad she didn't get to say goodbye to Bernie before leaving, and could Al tell him goodbye? And Al, just choking back tears, just says, he'll be sad he missed you.
But it only gets worse.
It only gets worse because, when Al goes to school, all the students are outside gathered for a big assembly, and the principal's giving a speech about, how it's the end of the war, and hopefully he's glad the war's over, and he hopes that for future generations there won't be any more. That's the best thing they can give to the future generations. That's always the hope. And Al begins crying during this speech. Dorothy has the right idea and grabs a teacher and, asks her to help him out. And Che and Telcott, Al's buddies, are just like, they're just comforting him by telling him, don't worry, there will be another war. It'll be bigger and flashier and cooler, and they might even find live bullets.
And that just makes him cry even worse.
Yeah. And then,
but also, they're right.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah. Zeta and Double Zeta do get bigger and flashier, and everybody suffers psychic damage if they survive. But yeah, on that note of the hopeful future for more war, we just fade out from the school assembly to the colony to the greater reaches of space, and it ends as we are treated to an ED, Toi Kyoku, which means distant memory by Megumi Shiina.
God bless us, everyone.
Yes. So yeah, that's War in the Pocket. Very, very dense show. But I wanted to give it my due diligence because this is one of my very favorite things of all time. Easily one of my favorite Gundam shows as well.
That's high praise from you, a certified Gundamologist.
Yeah.
Well, now that we've kind of gone through the whole thing, let's jump to the crankometer where we can rate this. I feel confident rating this on the crankometer scale because this is basically like a feature length.
Yeah, you can treat this as a movie, as like a 2.5 hour movie.
Right. So I'm A-okay putting it on the crankometer, which if you're new to this show, friends, welcome to the show. But the crankometer is our patented XY axis for rating Christmas movies. The X axis is how Christmassy it is. The Y axis is the quality quotient, how good it is. So friends, how Christmassy is Mobile Suit Gundam War in the Pocket?
All right. So the back half of this is jam-packed with Christmas, right? We don't even know it's Christmas. Yeah. Almost Christmas means it wasn't Christmas. But
yes, exactly.
At the back half, we come to find out it's like December 17th, and then one of the main plot points hinges on midnight, Christmas Day.
Right.
We got a couple of other things like using the balloons as a distraction tactic or as a bullet sponge. That probably wouldn't have worked in a different holiday or just in a normal setting unless they came up with a different plot point like weather balloons. But I think it meshes really well. And it also, I think thematically it works too, because so many of the citizens are more or less blissfully unaware of everything going on. Or at the very least, if they're adults, they're, this is kind of relatable, even if none of us have, thank God, lived through any sort of active war in where we live. A lot of people just kind of brush aside the atrocities of modern life and what's going on and try their best to live sort of a mundane life. And so everybody who's celebrating Christmas in the midst of, a giant ass robot just tore ass down Main Street like 2 days ago, and now you're having a parade, right? Like you do your best to carry on, but it kind of feeds into that whole theme of people who are willfully ignorant or even, sort of naive to what's going on, whereas, those who are living this situation. And I think it really meshes well. I like how they use Christmas in this.
And not just that, but I think it's a good, it's a good tool to use for this series where it's kind of showing you how they kind of corrupt Al as his innocence is just destroyed through the course of this series, and having it set over Christmas, kind of like blazing a trail through the holidays, is just another way of showing that. Because, shooting up the Santa Claus balloon with bullets is, you don't get more on the nose than that.
That's really true, because Christmas is largely a holiday associated with the joy and innocence of children too. And
yeah.
Peace on earth, goodwill to men.
Right. Yes, that too. I think it works really well, actually. I would give this a 3 or a 4, probably.
I would say 3 because I think the reason I don't want to give it a 4 is because like you said, the entire first half is completely absent of Christmas stuff, and it is just because I was wondering if you guys are going to be messaging me like partway through being like, "You're sure this is a Christmas thing, right?"
It started creeping in like towards the end of the second episode, started the third episode. I was like, I trust him. Is it gonna be like 2 seconds of a Christmas tree and then nothing else? But no, they really they had us in the first half, but they really pull through, especially thematically in the back half, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll say from what I recall of Endless Waltz, this is more Christmassy than that.
Oh hell yeah!
Yes,
yeah.
I would agree.
Absolutely.
I would agree.
3?
I'm good with a 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good with a 3 on this. Now, y-axis quality quotient. I mean, we all enjoyed this, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would not say enjoy because this one really hurts me. I love it dearly, but it hurts me every time I watch it because the emotional toll it takes is so heavy.
No.
But I absolutely love it, and I give it a 5-star easy. Like I said, one of my favorite Gundams, one of my favorite things ever made.
Joe?
Well, I guess enjoy is not the right word. Appreciate is a better
yes.
a better word. But yes, no, I absolutely I'll say it. I enjoyed this. I had a good time watching this. I appreciated the way it was kind of structured and written. I have no problems with this.
Wow. That's really high praise coming from you.
What is Bradford, your opinions?
I enjoyed this a lot, and I think it gave me a new appreciation for... I don't watch a lot of mecha, but just like the handling of everything, I really liked this, and I enjoyed my time with it. Not enjoyed. Again, I can appreciate I can appreciate what it did. And it makes me want to check out other stuff. In fact, after I finished this, I went straight into continuing to watch Kyuks.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I liked it a lot. I think it was
Yeah, so
are
we saying this is going to be a positive 3, positive 5?
I would give it a positive 5, but yeah, it's up to you guys.
I'd be amenable to a 5.
I truly cannot think of any reason to give it less than a 5.
Wow.
Like no demerits from me here. I thought the story was very well captured. I thought the characters were really cool. The Gundams were really fucking cool. Like maybe it's just that it's late and my words are starting to fail me, but I just really enjoyed this. I can't say it any better than that.
It's just a well-crafted story, even if you leave out all the mecha, I think.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Like, even that aside. Even cool robots aside.
War in the Pocket is a good mecha series because, unlike other mecha series, it actually is about characters.
It's a revolutionary concept when you get back down to it. You center on the people. The people are what matter.
That's a joke in the mecha community because people who don't watch mecha see a mecha they like, they assume that's the only one that's about the characters, but secretly all mecha is about characters.
All of them are about.
I gather that's
true.
Yeah,
I understand.
Yeah.
Oh boy, so a 3-5, huh? That's pretty cool.
That's the second 5 is on the quality quotient we've had during an anime, if I recall. So good job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job, everybody. Gold stars all around.
Gold stars.
Well, as someone who's been pushing for this for literally years. I watched it first in early 2022, and I've been hounding you guys about it since. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
When we talked about Endless Waltz, you sold this like this was going to be the biggest downer on Earth, but I mean it's a downer.
And it kind of is.
It is, but it's but it's not like watching Schindler's List, you know?
Yeah.
I guess the cool robots help.
Yeah, you get some cool robots in there.
Anyways.
All right. Well, yeah, three hearty recommendations for War in the Pocket from us here at Christmas Creeps. Nick, thank you so much for joining us to break this one down.
On this,
you're welcome, and I want to recognize you did call the shot on the Lupin the Third episode that this would be a 2-hour episode.
Yeah, this was going to be a Gundam-sized episode, no matter way you slice it.
Yeah,
I hate being psychic about all the wrong things. Oh boy. Well, friends, if you've made it to this point in the episode, I congratulate you. I don't have a prize for you. We should start implementing Marvel no prizes or something like that.
We should have a code word at the end of the episode, but you're not allowed to fast forward. We got to sprinkle it throughout, and then they put it in, and then they get a ruler. I'm going to mail them a ruler in the mail.
We should structure the podcast like a choose your own adventure book, and if you skip to the end, you're gonna fail.
Just gonna fall down a pit. Well, thank you for listening. We know you have a lot of choice when it comes to this sort of thing. You're all fantastic. We appreciate you. You want to do the socials real quick?
You can find us on all the socials at Christmas Creeps. Blue Sky, Facebook, Threads. I think we're still on Threads. All that fun stuff. We're on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and wherever you get podcasts. Just subscribe and leave us a star rating and a review. All that fun stuff. You can email us xmascreeps@gmail.com. Anything you want. General friends, is there anything you'd like to plug before we get out of here? Dr. Nick?
Yeah, you can find me on Blue Sky at O Pencil Sharp. That is the letter O pencilsharp.bsky.social. I just post a lot of stuff about Gundam because that's what I'm obsessed with.
Nice.
That's his thing.
I don't have anything for you. Make a really good sandwich this week. I hope you have a good week. I guess since we're on YouTube, I can say like, comment. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and smash that bell button. I've always wanted to say that. Now I can. But it's been a privilege, gentlemen, to thank you for going through this exercise in madness with me in May. And I hope we'll be able to do it again very soon.
Oh, yes, because anime is not over.
No.
We're going into extra innings on this wonderful month of ours.
In fact, it's what I might be most excited about, although War in the Pocket greatly exceeded my expectations. We still have one last little treat, and I'm real excited for it.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It's a fun one.
Yeah. I can't wait.
And I can put this series to bed for another 2 years.
Yes. One last push.
Well, folks, thank you so much for listening to Christmas Creeps. We're going to wrap this up and go to bed. I have been Joseph Wade.
I'm Bradford.
I'm Dr. Nick.
Have a wonderful evening. Creep it real, y'all, and we'll see you later.
Night.
Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas.